Hello, beautiful people. How are you all doing? I hope you have had a good day. Shitty McShit face. I think that's what I'm going to call him. I forgot I had this. And remember yesterday when I was talking about shit and that we don't just need we don't just have a big pile, we've got shit everywhere. Yeah, so I've got a big shit here. Just, another plushy mascot. So we've got, sitting here, we've got Spike, the hedgehog. We've got Wee Nessie, and we've got Sparkle Farts, my little unicorn. So, how are you all doing? Let me come to the comments and have a look. Before I do, though, you will see that there is a link at the top of the chat that has a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page if you would like to support the channel monetarily. If not, that's okay. Completely understand. If you would like to subscribe to the channel and like the video, that really helps with the algorithms. So, that is the cheapest way to support me. But definitely subscribing. Would like to get up to 1,000 subscribers in the next couple of months. It would be really awesome if I could do that, because I've had this channel for about 4 years now. So it'd be great if I could actually start monetizing it. Didn't start off thinking about monetizing it. It wasn't a plan, but now it's sort of become a necessity. And I just want to thank all of those who have already supported the channel monetarily. There is also a poll this evening up on the at the top of the chat. Hang on a second, let me just have a look. Do you think more should be done to educate boys and men about misogyny? Misogyny, say what in the comments. Actually say, you only get a certain amount of characters to type in there, so I don't mean say what, the word what, we're not in Pulp Fiction, but yeah, say what you think could be done to, educate men and boys about misogyny and how to treat women. So 100% so far out of 8 votes are saying yes, more could be done. So that is something that we will have a look at. So I'm going to go through the comments and say hello to everybody. Hi, Elle, lovely to see you. Now, just Elle actually reminded me, because I forgot about this, that it's Reagan Elite's 3rd year anniversary on Friday for his channel. So he will be going live at 3 p.m. I will go live at 1 p.m. because there is no agenda this week, because Graham obviously is in Ginger Island. So, it sort of works out, because I know a lot of you do watch the agenda as well. Hi, Billy Kershaw, lovely to see you. I didn't arrive early, I'm afraid, Elle. I arrived late. A wizard arrives exactly when he ought to, or a witch arrives exactly when she ought to. Hi, Chrissy, lovely to see you. Diz, hi, my darling, good to see you. Hi, Viper Scott, wonderful to see you. Let's have a look. Just scrolling down, just seen the fire in Glasgow, the shops that have been destroyed. I have been in them, except the bloody vape shop. Oh no, yeah, I saw about the fire in Glasgow. That's awful. I hope that nobody was injured. I haven't had a chance to actually read up on the fire. There's been so much today going on in my life, as there normally is. Chrissy says that has got to have been a really hot fire to cause that amount of damage. Wonder if the lithium batteries in the vapes are to blame, or was something else being stored on site? Well, that's a possibility, isn't it? And a lot of people sort of postulate that it may well be that vape shops are a front for other things, and perhaps it was targeted. I don't know. I'm just putting my thoughts out there, just asking questions. Hi, Sarah Davies. Lovely to see you. Lost Missionary. Hello. Hi, Pete's Music. Hope all is good. Sorry, I hope I've not missed anybody here. Hope I've not missed anybody. No, I haven't. Oh, hang on. We're on top chat instead of live chat. Do it all the time. All the time. I don't think I've missed anybody. If they're at any point or used to bloody top chat, it even misses others out from the feed for no reason whatsoever that I can fathom. I know, Lost Missionary, it's just mental. I know Indie Duck Mel was saying yesterday that some of the comments that she, hadn't seen. I don't know. It's YouTube. It's technology. Me, no good with technology. Far too old for that shit. It is widely expected the mid-Victorian block will be demolished, although Glasgow Central train station is expected to remain closed beyond tomorrow. Wow. Wow. Hello, Draka and Alexis. Hey up, our Debs. Hey up, Draka. Hey up, Alexis. Wonderful to see you. Witcher Goth, I've seen some of the Earl footage. It definitely was a vape battery fire. It went up very quickly. Wow. Wow. That's, yeah. I don't vape. I've never vaped. It's not something that I've ever wanted to do. I did used to smoke cigarettes and I quit smoking nearly 20 years ago now, and glad I did. So, but I would never vape. I think after all those years of smoking cigarettes, my lungs are kaput anyway, because I have COPD. So just a little bit of housework, house cleaning, housekeeping before I go on. If you are watching the channel and you would like to join the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel and then wait a minute and you'll be able to chat. Please be polite, please be friendly. The group of chat, we've got quite a few moderators on there and they don't tolerate trolls, neither do I. So if you do have something to say that is perhaps, a subject that is a topic that is, and your views are different to mine, that's okay. But if we can say it in a polite way, and I will be happy to discuss that with you. And if you are watching, if you could please hit the like button, that would really help with the algorithms as well. Hi, so Larry, lovely to see you. I'll do to you as well. Around 200 firefighters were involved in tackling the blaze, which spread quickly and gutted the Forsyth building that surrounds a corner of the station. That's absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Thanks, Chris C, for that. So Misogyny Monday, I try and talk about misogynistic topics and things and try and educate people. So if you have just joined the chat, there's a poll at the top asking a question. Is there more that can be done to educate men and boys about misogyny and what it is? And if you do have any ideas that you'd like, not time yet. Not time yet. If you do have any ideas that you would like to put forwards as to how we could tackle misogyny, please let me know in the chat. And if you could make sure, if you do want to leave a message for me and you do want me to notice it, the easiest way is to type at Witchy Goth, at the Witchy Goth, because then I will see it. It shows up, it highlights on my screen, so I can see that you've made a comment that you want me to notice. Yes, because the comments sometimes flow really, really quickly. Trolls are tolerated for around 5 seconds, then you will be muted and buted faster than a nuclear chain reaction. Name that tune in 5. I doubt you'll guess it because it's not an actual song. It's a start of a video. So I think it's probably their own music. So but I used to love Name That Tune. I'm really good at that. Really, really good at that. One of my exes did a whole thing with me once with Kate Bush songs, and he'd play like one note and I'd get it. I'd be like, it's that song. It's that song. He was like, how do you know? Because I just know Kate Bush really well. So today, yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't around on Regan Elite's show this morning. I had my breakfast, was falling asleep and went back to bed, got up at 2, then went for my run. And so it's been a bit of a chaotic sort of afternoon because I had to ring my mum and my sister was there. So I had a chat with my sister as well. So it's been just one of them days where things didn't go as planned, but I've got to the point now where I know with my mental and physical health that I have to listen to my body. So if my body says to me, Debs, you know, you've got to rest, take a couple of extra hours sleep, then I do. And I don't think it's right to berate ourselves if we do take a couple of extra hours sleep, you know. I mean, I've got lots of physical illnesses, lots of comorbidities, and I try not to let them stop me doing things that I enjoy. Running, I will always try and run. That is my thing. That is the thing that makes me happy. And even though the weather today when I went out was overcast and grey, there were still birdies around. And I'm lucky because there weren't many people around today. But I was doing sprints and splits with sprints. So that was hard work. But worth it because it's going to give me more speed in the long run. So yes, if we could please be polite in the chat. A lot of us have various, you know, we're all here to support each other. That's what we do. We support each other. So something brilliant to start with that I think is hilarious is Farage didn't get to see Trumpty Dumpty on Saturday. He didn't even get close to Mar-a-Lago. It was about an hour away from Mar-a-Lago and he had to go and have dinner somewhere else. So that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant that, yeah, he didn't get to see Trump. So he's not the prime minister. Trump is not going to entertain him. He's in the middle of a war. If the prime minister had gone over there, he would have spoken to him, I'm sure. But Farage is a teeny little pinhead. I gave the phlebotomists a challenge this morning. My veins decided they didn't want to cooperate and hand over the blood. It was amusing and painful at the same time. Yeah. Did they transverse your veins? I hate that. And you get a big bruise on your arm. I mean, I'm cold at the minute. I've just put the heating on. But, you know, when I run, my veins pop out. So, which is good. So when they want blood, they're generally there. But, you know, yeah, it can be painful. But I'm one of those people that sit and watch what they do, or watch if they give me a jab there. It's like going for a tattoo. A tattoo is more painful than one single needle, you know, and even a tattoo's not painful. Hi, Regan Elite. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining. I was just saying to Elle, because she reminded me, I'm sorry I wasn't on your stream this morning. I was back in bed. I'd gone back to bed after I'd woken up. I was absolutely knackered. I don't know why. So I went back to bed for an extra sleep. But Elle reminded me that you are live streaming at 3 p.m. on Friday. So I will live stream at 1 p.m. and then pass over to you. So, because you deserve it. You've got your 3-year anniversary, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well done for sticking around for 3 years, because this is not easy, is it? Chris says they attempted both arm veins and then decided to attack the veins in my hand. Yeah, I had that once. I had a kidney disease way back in my late teens, early 20s. They couldn't find a vein in my arm and they had to put it in my hand. But again, it didn't bother me. I'm not, you know, pain. No problem, Regan Elite. No problem at all. You know, we all support each other, don't we, on here? So, and I think it's, you know, it's cool because I then, after I finished a bit earlier, I get to watch you while I'm packing my bag because I'm going to my mummy's for Mother's Day. So Mother's Day is on Sunday, if you didn't know. So if you do have a mother in your life or a grandmother or somebody you would like to honour who has been a mother to you, you may want to get a card or some flowers. I'm making a card. I'm making a card this year. So yeah, needs must and all of that. Thank you, Chrissy, for putting the link up to Regan Elite. That is fantastic. So if you don't already follow Regan Elite's channel, please do. He is brilliant. I absolutely love his morning show. Unfortunately, like I say, I missed it this morning because I was asleep. Hi, Dave McGuinness. Fantastic to see you in the chat. Lovely to see you there. Sarah Davies, when I was having to have blood transfusions, I had IVs in my feet and even had to have a central line in my neck. Oh, that must have been sore. That must have been sore. Wow. Wow, that must have been really, really sore. I don't mind needles. It's the IV cannulas that I have massive problem with, and the arterial blood draws. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm just, yeah, doesn't bother me in the slightest. So I think it's hilarious that Farage didn't get to see Trump because he was so sure he was going to convince him about the Chagos deal and all the rest of it, and he wasn't. Ha ha ha. So that's really hilarious. So misogyny. As you know, I run. And as I was coming back, there were two guys that were like, one guy coming this way, one guy coming that way. Both had dogs. One guy was slightly older than the other, and he had a French bulldog. I think they're gorgeous. And the other guy had a Doberman. Anyway, they were talking to each other. I was busy puffing and panting because I was running really fast today. Well, what I call really fast. And so the one guy with the French bulldog said to the other guy, "They're better than women, aren't they? Or better than wives, aren't they?" That is misogyny. That is misogyny. The older generation, not all boomers, and I would say even older than that, have that behavior. And it's institutionalized. It's ingrained in them. They learned it from their fathers. Their mothers were compliant in it. They just accepted that these things were said to them. We don't have to anymore. We don't have to. And it's up to us to call out things like that. It really is. Otherwise, we're not going to end misogyny. Some of you may have seen yesterday, Hannah Spencer, the New Green MP from Manchester, was giving a speech at Manchester Piccadilly Gardens there. And it's not really a garden, is it? But anyway, there were some transphobes that were wearing men, that were wearing sandwich boards that were anti-trans. I couldn't read what they said, but they were men. And the one bit of footage I saw, which was brilliant, there was a trans woman stood there and she was like sort of as close to the guy as she could get, sort of putting her sign in front of his, because he was filming and he was heckling. And, he was heckling and stuff and putting his sign there in front of it. Femi did do a video, Billy. I have actually got that up here to play for those who did not hear it or see it. The board said there's no such thing as a trans child. Thank you. I couldn't read it because it was on my phone. Diesel at £1.60 a litre here. Thanks, Trump. Like life wasn't hard enough, blah, blah. Hi, lovely to see you. Yeah. I know. I did tell everybody last week to fill up their cars and some jerry cans if they had enough money to do so, because I knew it was going to happen. But thanks for being here, blah, blah. So I'm going to play. I can't, obviously, you guys know that I do not have the technology at the moment to be able to play that footage so you can see it, but you'll be able to hear it. Now, there is also some footage online recorded by some guy called The Matrix. I didn't load it, but I meant to link it, actually. I meant to link all of these before I started the show, but I was late, as normal. Could go over £2 a litre. Fucking hell. It's a good job I put petrol in my car the other week, and that I don't drive it often, because, yeah. So, yeah, the guy's called Matrix somebody other, and I watched part of it. I couldn't stand it, and they were talking about, because Hannah Spencer was nearly assaulted, basically. These guys were trying to, create aggro. So I actually went and read some of the comments. It came up on my Facebook feed, and I went and read some of the comments, and they were all right-wing supporters. They were all anti-trans, and they were all disgusting. And they were all saying, well, their security guard hit this bloke first. No, they obviously had cut that out of the video. One of the guys who was protesting pushed the other person first. So, yeah. So to get a sort of broad overview of it, I will play Femi's video so you can hear it and what he says as well, because I love Femi. I do. I love Femi. And don't forget, Femi's now a member of the Green Party as well. And he gets thrown out of so many different, well, he got thrown out of, I think, the Tory conference, and he's been thrown out of Reform conference. And, he takes a lot of flack from a lot of people. So if you don't follow Femi, please go follow Femi. He gives, and from his perspective as well, because he is Black and he has that racist, attack on him all the time. So it's great to follow him, and he's brilliant what he does. He really, really is. I do watch all of his videos. What's this about somebody saying, don't say that, wait for fuel theft? Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. It'll happen. What's this about, if they want you gone, you're happy to oblige? No, Elle, you're not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. Apparently, I saw that as well. Macron is going to open the Hormuz Strait, sending a French Navy there. That's brilliant. Yeah, so Edge of the Matrix, that's it. Thank you. Guy does this all the time, and in other countries. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for popping the name there, because I just saw Matrix, and yeah, and he's a dickhead. He really is a complete dickhead. So yes, you're not going anywhere, Elle. We're not letting you. You're not allowed. You're not allowed at all. Definitely not allowed. If you do, I shall have to kill myself and come after you. You don't want that. You don't want an angry goth chick after you. Definitely not. Witchy, did you get the mic? I haven't had a chance to sort it out yet, blah, blah. I've been so busy with other shit. I really have. And trying to keep on top of stuff at the moment is really, I'm getting very overwhelmed with stuff. So please bear with me. I'm trying to keep the live streams going. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported the channel monetarily. And remember, guys, liking the videos, liking the live streams. Even if you just watch a little bit, it still puts it into the algorithm. And if you want to, you can always go back and check out some of my old videos. Just watch a couple of seconds. It shows up that it's had a view. Sorry, I'm just trying to, put my channel a bit further out there. Sorry, I've got an itch on my face. There's got a few spots over here today. I don't know why. Hi, Rosemary. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to start with some signs of misogyny and 12 ways to spot or a misogynist. So this is an article from Psychology Today. It's a few years old. It's from 2015, but it is a good sort of simple way of recognizing misogynists when you see them. So misogyny, for anybody who doesn't know, means hatred of women. A woman can be a misogynist as well, and perhaps she wouldn't know it. Misandry is the opposite of misogyny. So it's misandry is the hatred of men. However, without misogyny, misandry wouldn't exist. And it's a bit different as well. So we're specifically talking about misogyny here. I will discuss misandry in the future in another live stream. So it's not something that I want to gloss over. I think that we need to see a broad perspective of things, because I do know that there are women out there that will physically and mentally hurt men. And, there are women who will do all sorts of horrible things to other women as well. Sorry, guys, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this afternoon. It's very humid outside. It was 93% humidity when I was running, and I could really feel it in my chest. So, but Misogyny Monday, we're looking at misogyny today. So these are some points of how to recognize a misogyny. He will zero in on a woman and choose her as his target. Her natural defenses may be down because he's flirtatious, exciting, fun, and charismatic at first. So some of you women may have experienced this. Some of you men may know somebody who's like that. Point 2, as time goes on, he begins to reveal a Jekyll and Hyde personality. He may change quickly from irresistible to rude and from rude back to irresistible. One thing that I always say is if you do go out with a man and you go, for example, to a restaurant or a coffee, and the man is rude to the waiter or waitron or waitress or the server, that is generally a sign of misogyny. Whether it's a man or a woman, they see that person as less than them. 3, he will make promises to women and often fail to keep them. With men, on the other hand, he will almost always keep his word. I've experienced that, definitely experienced that. Been promised the world and received a grain of sand. He will be late for appointments and dates with women, but be quite punctual with men. Yep. I'm sure some of you have seen that, and some of you, like I say, may know a man who is like that. His behaviour toward women in general is grandiose, cocky, controlling, and self-centred. He is extremely competitive, especially with women. If a woman does better than him socially or professionally, he feels terrible. If a man does better, he may have mixed feelings about it, but he's able to look at the situation objectively. And I know that I've experienced that from quite a few men, and I see it a lot in my interactions online when talking about politics or misogyny with men, that they tend to be aggressive towards me when they find out, you know, that I'm not thick, that I'm not, you know, that I know what I'm talking about. Because so often people online, you know, have these comments, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, you're stupid, this, that, and another. And often men will say, well, women are stupid, you don't know things. For example, I've decorated a number of my homes that I've lived in over the years, painted. And I'm aware that when you get a can of paint, it settles at the bottom. So you have to stir it and mix it to make sure that all the pigment is in the right place. Otherwise, the paint's too thin. When you apply it to the wall, it's patchy. And so I remember once one of my exes was painting, and he'd started in the living room. It was just white paint, nothing fancy, nothing spectacular. And I went in and I'm like, he's saying, this is really thin paint. I'm like, have you stirred it? No. So you have to stir it to get all the, you know, oh, doesn't say that. I'm like, okay. So carried on with what I was doing. Later on, I came outside and I saw that there was a wooden stick with paint on the bottom. Yeah. Men don't like being told what to do by women. It's like a woman takes her car to the garage to have something fixed. And, you know, a lot of women do not know an engine. That's perfectly fine. Now, I do. Not new engines, because obviously they're very different to the engines that I remember from my old cars. I mean, I've changed the oil, I've changed the air filters, I've changed the spark plugs and the points, because going back to when I started driving, we had points and spark plugs in the car as well. And I know how to, you know, change those things. I can change a tire, I can change a plug. So if I take my car in, I'll say, oh, there's a problem with this. Can you, you know, have a look at it? And they like look at you as if you, how do you know this? How do you know this is what the problem is? when was it recently? Yeah, it was the battery on my car. It had just before winter. I parked on the drive and I hadn't moved it for a few days. And I called and I knew it was the battery. I knew it was the battery. And he came and he said, "What do you think?" So I said, "It's the battery." I said, I've tried to charge it using the battery. I've got one of those portable battery chargers that you plug in and everything, and it wouldn't work. So I knew the battery's dead. And he said, "Well, I just need to check it," which he did. And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. The battery's gone." So it is he was nice. He was nice about it, though. He was just saying, "Look, I have to go through these, the checks and everything to make sure." But yeah, some men can be very, very condescending if you're a woman and you're telling them this is what is wrong. He will unknowingly treat women differently from men in workplace and social settings, allowing men various liberties for which he will criticize female colleagues or friends. He will be prepared unconsciously to use anything within his power to make women feel miserable. He may demand intercourse or withhold intercourse in his relationships, make jokes about women, or put them down in public. Borrow their ideas in professional context without giving them credit, or borrow money from them without paying them back. Yep, I've experienced that last one. Definitely experienced that last one. 9, on a date, he will treat a woman opposite of how she prefers. If she is an old-style lady who prefers a gentleman who holds the door open for her, orders for both, and pays for the meal, he will treat her like one of his male buddies in order for himself and let her pay for the whole meal if she offers, and sometimes even if she doesn't. If she is a more independent type who prefers to order her own meal and pay for herself, he will rudely order for both and pay the check when she goes to the bathroom. So I always, I haven't been on a date for years, but I've never let a man pay for me on a first date. I've always paid my half, and I always order my own food. Do not tell me what I'm going to eat. I don't want to eat the same thing as you, unless it's a steak. But don't tell me how you have your steak done, because I know how I have my steak done. And it always reminds me of that scene in Titanic when she sat there and she's asked by the waiter, what would you like? And he chips in and says, "We'll both have the lamb, medium," or whatever, or rare, I think he says. And she looks at him like, "I can order for myself." Sexually, he likes to control women and gives little or no attention to their sexual pleasure. Foreplay, if it occurs at all, is only a necessary means to an end. He enjoys oral sex, but only as a recipient. His favorite positions enable him to avoid looking the woman in her eyes. I don't think that's the same for all misogynists, because I do think that some misogynistic men like to see fear in a woman's face. He will cheat on women he is dating or in a relationship. Monogamy is the last thing he feels he owes a woman. He may suddenly disappear from a relationship without ending it, but may come back 3 months later with an explanation designed to lure the woman back in. So not every misogynist has all of these attributes, and there are others as well. But women haters unconsciously get off on treating women badly. Every time they can put down a woman or hurt her feelings, they unconsciously feel good. Because deep down in their hidden brain, their bad behavior is rewarded with a dose of dopamine, which makes them want to repeat that behavior again and again. And that is, in essence, misogyny and how it occurs and how we may not see it. So I know it was Tommy Lee Cadden yesterday who said that he holds the doors open for women, which is wonderful. I'm, however, one of those women who will open a door for men. I'm not saying I don't enjoy the door being opened for me by a man. I do. But I enjoy, doing my own thing. I'm independent. Let's have a look at some of the comments here. Hold on a second. David, I knew a misogynist who was very good at picking up women. He gave me this advice: women are like cats. The less attention you give them, the more they want your attention. Yeah, that's very sly, very sly. And there is some truth in that. However, modern women are becoming wise to these old tricks. And, you know, I think that generally speaking, I will tell women who ask me for advice in relationships, because I do tarot readings and stuff. So, you know, I will tell women advice. If he doesn't respond to you, he's not that interested in you. Do not bother responding back. Don't even chase them. It's not worth it, because they'll string you along purely for their own gratification. Sadly, mechanics tend to overprice single women. Absolutely, they do. Hi, Indie Dog Mel, listening on the bus home from dance. Lovely to see you there. Thanks for joining. What's this news that we are talking about, Mel, from Viper? Sorry, I'm just going through some comments to see what we have. Does that make you a misogynist? What, the choice of an old fart? I'm sorry, I'm not following if that makes you a misogynist or not. Women can be misogynist, especially women who are of older generations. And it is something that we need to learn and need to implement. So, for example, a woman is raped and she was intoxicated and she was wearing a short skirt and she was on her own at night. She'd lost her friends. And some women, not all women, will say things such as, well, she shouldn't have been wearing a short skirt, or she shouldn't have got drunk, and this, that, and the next thing. And that is wrong, because it's not her fault that she was raped. She didn't ask to be raped. It was the rapist who took advantage of that situation and raped her. Yes, there is a certain level of acknowledgement from women that you know, we need to be aware of that can happen. But we've been taught that from being children. We get taught that from our parents, from our mothers, from our friends. However, older women, as I say, will say those things. And men do. Men do. They will say such things as, well, she was asking for it. Look at what she was wearing. Look at, she was drunk. She, you know, she went out for this. And it's allowing us to recognize these things in ourselves as women. I have said that before. Well, she was wearing a short skirt. She should have dressed differently. And then reminding myself, hang on, you know, what did you used to wear when you went out? What did you know, how much did you drink? Yeah. Being drunk or a woman wearing a short skirt does not mean she wants to be raped. So even if you are thinking, well, I've said things like that before, it's recognizing that you've said those things before and recognizing them when somebody else says those things so that you can make that change in behavior. Did he jump? No, Sir Larry the Cat, I haven't had a chance. It's still open on my feed here. I've just been, so busy doing God knows what, but I did have a big sleep this morning. I was so tired. We also need to start redefining masculinity. Much of them, misogyny stems from a zero-sum view of manhood, promoting healthy masculinity where vulnerability and empathy are seen as strengths. Absolutely, absolutely agree with you, Chris C. When you look at the manosphere and you have characters such as Andrew Tate, oh God, there's a story about Andrew Tate that I must tell you in a minute as well. They teach men, people like Fresh and Fit, Jordan Peterson, and there are loads of guys in the manosphere that you know, will tell boys Women don't want you unless you look like this, or you have a big bank account, or, you know, you're one of the top 1% of people. That's not true. That's so untrue. And they will also teach these young boys and men to treat women horribly. And again, that's wrong. And women are cottoning onto this. Younger generations, most definitely, are cottoning onto this behavior from some men, in that that's not, you know. And I see a lot of content from the manosphere, and I see men going up to women and, you know, can I buy you a drink? And the woman says, no, I'm okay, thank you. Or try to get her phone number, or so on and so on. And the woman says, no, I'm okay. And the man will still, no, just give me your phone number. It's just one drink. Let me just buy you a drink. No, I'm okay, thank you. I'm not interested. And then eventually the man will turn around and say, fucking bitch, you're all the same. She was right to not accept a drink from that person. So I was watching some Fresh and Fit this morning as well, because I thought I could include that in some of what I was talking about today. But their episodes are very, very long, and you actually have to see what they're doing. So Fresh and Fit, Myron Gaines and this other dude, and they sit there and they have a table with women around the table. They're young women. These women are probably women that are, you know, fresh out of school, who are very impressionable. All of these women, generally, most of them are wearing revealing clothing at the top. And you can see they've actually got blankets around the bottom half of their bodies. So I am guessing that they have been told to show their boobs, you know, cleavage and so on. They're all pretty. They're all very pretty. So these women obviously get chosen for a reason. And they will be asked questions by Fresh and Fit, and they will be made to look stupid. And it's deliberate. It is deliberate. It is so they can laugh at these women. That is pure misogyny. Sorry, I've definitely missed a few comments here, so please forgive me. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Chris put something there. We also need to start redefining, oh yes, seen as strengths, as it reduces the need for some men to exert dominance over women to feel manly. Absolutely. So because boys are told from a young age, boys can't cry. Got the Cure song in my head now, Boys Don't Cry. It's okay to cry. It's an emotion. So often men will say women are emotional, but men aren't. But their anger is emotion. They seem to forget about the anger being an emotion. So this Andrew Tate story. So as some of you know, I mentioned yesterday that he was driving to Dubai, and then he had to catch a bus, and they told him to get off the bus and he wouldn't. And then he was detained in a detention center because they thought he might have been a terrorist. And he said his words were, they thought I was a terrorist. I'm only a sex trafficker. He admits it himself. Perhaps he was saying it in jest, but he didn't say I'm only joking. He actually said it himself. So then he had to wait for a bus, and he sat there on this platform, wherever it is, with Tristan, his brother, and he is raging, absolutely raging. The fact that he's got to wait for a bus. I normally get onto a plane and people say they know who I am and I've got to wait for a bus. Welcome to the real world. Welcome to the real world. And he was saying things like he just wants to go and pew pew and, you know, protect Dubai from Iran. And it's like, I'm pretty sure the only type of action you have seen as being on Call of Duty. Because I can guarantee you, if he was faced with a man with a great big pew-pew, he'd probably piss himself. Big boys do cry. Absolutely, David. Who sang that song? Or was it Big Girls Don't Cry? Big girls don't cry, they don't cry. Tate wouldn't last a second. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm skipping the death toll count there, Chris, because it's just annoying me. Wasn't Facebook set up originally to allow male students to rate the fuckability of their fellow female students? Most definitely. Trump got his first wife to have a boob job, then treated her like shit. I saw the documentary film, absolutely. And, you know, we all know that Trump is a misogynist. And you may not have heard this. I don't know if you have actually heard this. Trump, when the American ice hockey team, the women won their match and the men won their match. They both won gold. So Trump decided to ring the men's ice hockey team. Sorry, guys, it might come up with an advert.
And by the way, your goalie played not bad. Howie, say hi to him. How you doing, Dad? I've seen hockey goalies have slightly worse games. Unbelievable, and you were all unbelievable. And the team is pretty good you played. I don't know.
So Kash Patel was there in the locker room with the male hockey team, and Donald Trump was speaking to them and congratulating them on winning the game.
Soon, right? And, you know, I tell you what, I just told my people 2 minutes ago, I didn't know they'd be calling. I said, we're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something. But if you would like to, it's the coolest night. It's the biggest.
So Trump invited them to go to the speech of the Union, the State of the Union address, and he said he will send a plane to get them.
Can you pick us up in Miami on Tuesday morning? Yeah, Tuesday morning. What's the northern border? We'll get cash and we'll get the military to get you guys over. I'm going to go. Boys are going to State of the Union. The nice thing about being president is I can tell you, you don't have to worry about the weather or landing. We don't care if it's snowing or it's a worse blizzard. We sail into that story just like you did in the ice cream. Thank you, Mr. President. Now, we're good at the White House anyhow. What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
We have to bring the women's team. You do know that. Misogyny in the locker room. Diz has actually just put it up in a comment that the men won for the first time in 50 years and the women's team retained the title for the 9th time. Misogyny. That is misogyny. Trump telling the boys, you're coming, but I'm going to have to get the girls to come as well because they also won. Yeah. We know Donald Trump's a misogynist. Yeah, the ladies did refuse. They did refuse to go. And that's the next video I have here. This is actually from Whoopi Goldberg interviewing one of the ladies from the hockey team. I'm not sure who, but the title is USA Women's Hockey Team Captain Tells White House Invite a Distasteful Joke. It's from The View. It's with Whoopi Goldberg. I'm guessing it is a TV show in America. So this is how long is it? It's 3 minutes 49 long. So we'll see. So Larry, that's misogyny. That is misogyny. Women will say that I'm too busy, I'm washing my hair. But a man saying that is misogynistic. The View is like loose women. I'm not saying that, I know you're saying it as a joke. I know you're saying it as a joke. So I just want to, say that you are saying it as a joke. But it is an assumption that is sometimes made that, that's an excuse that women use. It may well be, but women do wash their hair often. The world has gone to shit. It'll take years to recover. Not my problem. I ain't cleaning up after it all. That's the thing. We aren't. The younger generations are, which is shit. Anyway.
Fallout continues over you-know-whose locker room phone call to the U.S. men's hockey team and players. On both sides are responding to this moment. Take a look.
We're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that. You do believe I probably would be impeached, okay?
I thought it was sort of a distasteful joke, and unfortunately that is overshadowing a lot of the success and, the success of just women at the Olympics carrying for Team USA and having amazing gold medal feats. I think the guys were in a tough spot, so it's a shame that sort of this storyline and narrative is kind of blown up and overshadowing kind of that connection, genuine interest in one another and cheering one another on.
We should have reacted differently. We know that we are so excited for the women's team. We have so.
Just gonna move that back a bit. Sorry.
Shadowing the fact that they both won the gold.
Now that we're home, we get to share that. We know that.
And overshadowing kind of that connection, genuine interest in one another and cheering one another on.
We should have reacted differently. We know that.
We know that. He's looking down when this is the captain of the men's hockey team speaking now. And it's that laugh. Froggage does it. It is a way of detracting from what he is saying. He's apologizing, but he's not really apologizing. He's not really apologizing. He's just being told this is what you have to say.
We are so excited for the women's team. We have so much respect for the women's team, and to share that gold medal with them is something that we're forever grateful for. And now that we're home, we get to share that together forever and see the incredible support that we have from the USA and sharing this incredible gold medal.
So is the controversy overshadowing the fact that they both won the gold and the women kicked behind? I don't know if you saw that today. But for me, I didn't understand.
Okay, the audience is clapping because they've just put a big picture up of the women's hockey team behind them. I'm going to go back to playing that in a minute. But yeah, Viper Scott, he's not apologizing. Definitely not apologizing. Where's that video gone now? Video's just vanished. It's just vanished. Oh, for God's sake. I'm not going to go back to that video because it's just vanished off of my screen. So I'd have to go and look at my history. Does Farage even know how to apologize? No, he doesn't. Well, I think he does know, but he just doesn't like apologizing. Sorry, but women's sports teams outperform their male counterparts and do it with less amateur dramatics, especially when it comes to football. I know. I'm a big rugby fan, more than footy. And I do know what the offside rule is, but I do love rugby. And I laugh because I just see the men playing rugby and they just batter each other. They just, it's constant, the whole game. It doesn't stop. It's fast. It's quick. Because I find football slow. I do. I find it's a very slow game. And you can see when they do the replays and everything, this guy, I've hurt my knee. kicked in the shin. You're wearing bloody shin pads, you know, where you've got the rugby team, the guy's eyes hanging out, blood dripping down, and he's like, I'm playing, I'm not going off, I'm still playing. It is amateur dramatics, Chris C. It definitely is. Remember the Boston Marathon, Boston in America, because there is a Boston in Lincolnshire. And Lincolnshire Boston Marathon is the flattest in the country. And I might actually try and run that, because at least there's no bloody hills. I bet it's easier. It's much easier and much faster, less walking. So the Boston Marathon in America, I cannot remember the lady's name now, and I have spoken about this before. She entered under initials, not giving her real name, because women weren't allowed to race. And she was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon. And officials, men, tried to pull her off the course, whereas the men that were running pulled her back and said, no, carry on. That is what was needed. And that was brilliant by those men at that time, to say, no, she's running. She's, you know, she's keeping up with us. Obviously, she didn't go on to win, but she won it as the first woman. She didn't win a medal, but, you know, she was the first woman to ever run in a marathon. Women weren't allowed to run. Look at what women used to wear when they played tennis back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They had to wear long dresses, you know, long skirts, and they're sort of tapping the ball across the court. And I think, if I remember rightly, the court was made smaller for the women. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So they didn't play as, you know, I mean, when you look at women today playing tennis, you know, and see how far that sport has come. Lip service big time, absolutely. If you think footy is slow, try watching American football. Oh, I know. And they wear those pads. I can't, no. It's stupid. American football, bunch of wussers. Rugby equals crabs. Rugby players can have an open fracture. They will be like, tis but a scratch, and continue to play. Footballer will get slightly tackled and make out they are being murdered. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I've known quite a few rugby players coming from South Africa, and there was one lad that used to work in one of the in-houses that I used to manage at the time, and what was his name? His name was JP, and he was 6'5", 120 kilos, and he was a rugby player, and that was it. You know, he was just so macho, and, you know, and I remember one time stopping off at a services, I think it must have been on the A1, and the Wasps team were in the service centre, and also really tall men, you know, big men. And I'm 6 foot tall, so it doesn't really bother me, but you compare them to the size of you know, the sort of general height of men, you know, the average height of men. But it is, yeah, rugby players are hard. And Australian rugby, oh my God, Australian rugby. Cauliflower ear comes to mind. Yeah. Concussion. Yeah. And there was a South African rugby player who, I think, what was his name? Joost van der Westhuizen. He was in the World Cup when they won. And I think he got some illness to do with the, you know, the colours all wonky, with the rock and rolls. So yeah. Sorry, Elle, I've not seen any comments from you, my love. I'm sorry. Have you said something? Okay, it was that comment. Okay. Indeed, Duck Melon, when you do the cluster thing and you look from above, they're a giant crab. It's called a maul. It's called a maul, and they throw the ball in, and yeah, and the trick is to get the ball out on the team's side, so that the guy on the outside can run with the ball, So it's like a push and shove thing. But yeah, it is. I really don't. Hi, Dark 4x4. Lovely to see you. Get the division of men and women's sports. Playing sports is a choice, one I choose not to do, though I did like playing rugby back in the day. You know, there has to be, women are, you know, not as strong as men. It's that simple. A man's anatomy is different to a woman's anatomy. Woman's anatomy, her hips are the center of her balance. Man's anatomy, it's the shoulders that are the center of their balance. The easiest way to tell the difference between a man and a woman is the hips, the actual hip bones themselves. So the iliac crest, which is the top of the hip bone for a woman, sits like that. For a man, it's like that, because obviously the hips on a woman have to move. They actually move to open to allow the baby to be born through the canal, through the birth canal. So that's the difference in the actual skeletal system. But women are generally shorter, have less, you know, muscle strength than men. There are women who are stronger than some men, most definitely. But, you know, it wouldn't be fair, for example, for a woman and a man to race against each other. You know, if you're looking at the elite athletes, because the man is going to be faster. That is the nature of their build. And when we talk about sports as feminists, and we talk about equality, we don't want to run in a man's race. You know, women run in marathons together with men, and that's perfectly fine. Women have their speeds, men have their speeds. Women will always be slower because they are not built the same. This is the elite athletes now. So we now have women are able to get medals for their time, and we've got the chip times now, which is brilliant. So you're given the actual correct time when you win, which is brilliant. So it clicks when you go through the start, and it clicks when you come back. And yeah, so you've got the fastest woman, and then you've got the fastest man, and those two are never going to compare. They're never going to compare. And that's the thing, I think, where, and again, not all men, but a lot of men think that women want to compete against them in these sports. That's not the case. We're competing against women. Now, I remember back when I ran my first breast cancer awareness run, the one that they run in June and July. It used to be women only. And some men would go dressed as women. I had no problem with it at all, but obviously they were way faster. But now they allow men to run in it, which is, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't men run in it? Now, there is one women's race. I think it happens in London, and it is specifically for women. And then there are races that are specifically for men. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Yeah, it is. So, you know, you couldn't put women onto a man's hockey team. It just wouldn't, you know, the physique, the speed, and so on. We were forced to play rugby at school in South Africa, rugby mad country like New Zealand. I know, David. We didn't have football. I went to Wordsworth High in Benoni. We didn't have football. It was rugby and cricket. And I think that's where my love of rugby comes in, because of seeing, you know, living in South Africa, and the fact that the game was just much more exciting. So hello, David, to you. And then we've got One Angry Pagan who's joined as well. Thank you for joining. Brilliant to see you here. Mythbusters did an episode on if men have a higher pain threshold when compared to women. Hate to say this, but the results were nope, especially those women who went through natural childbirth. Absolutely. There's a video that I saw recently of a woman who was going through childbirth. And the man, she was obviously having a lot of pain and was on sort of on the side of the bed on her knees. And, you know, it was getting close. You could hear it was getting close. And he was saying, oh, shut up. Not all women sound like this. It's not that bad. Yeah, he was told to leave the room in a very, unpolite way. I broke my leg, my right tibia. I've broken it twice through running, same leg, slightly different place. And it was on downhills both times. And as you run downhill, I was at the time, and this was an experience that I had, pushing. So it was that force of hitting the floor, and a stress fracture pushes back. So it was, I carried on running. I thought it was, I've just pulled a tendon or whatever. Carried on running for another sort of half a kilometre. Then I'm like, okay, this is really sore, so I'm just going to walk. So I walked the rest of the way home, and I went to the doctor a couple of days later. I'm like, look, this is really painful. 3 months it took them to send me for an x-ray to get found out, or to find out that it was broken. In those 3 months, okay, I wasn't running, but I was still cycling, and I had a Claude Butler hybrid. So it was a off-road and on-road bike. So the tires were slightly wider than on-road, but not as wide as a mountain bike. But it had all the gear shifts. Lovely bike. Absolutely loved that bike. And I rode or cycled the red route in Sherwood Pines with my broken leg on that bike. I also was still teaching yoga at the time as well. I've never given birth. I have miscarried. And I do know that that was incredibly painful. And excuse me, and I didn't want to talk about this today because obviously we've got Mother's Day coming up, but I just want to say to all the mothers out there who may have miscarried, or who may have a baby, a child in Summerland, heaven, on the other side, wherever you want to call it, you are still a mother, and you still deserve to be treated like a mother. I was going to ask a question around trans women and trans men competing in single-sex sports, but I'm struggling to face the question that will not cause offence. Chrissy, it is a very, very, very difficult topic, isn't it? It is a very difficult topic. And I am sort of, well, the physique of a trans woman is bigger than the physique of a cisgendered woman. However, they do take the estrogen, and if they transitioned the whole way, that's where that video went. If they have transitioned the whole way, there is obviously that removal of testosterone. I think it's something that needs to be discussed, on a very large scale with people, and sort of looking at things like we have the Paralympics. Perhaps we should have different sections for trans women and trans men. I don't know. I'm not saying that would solve the problem, and I do not want to, encroach on any or upset any trans women, because in my book and my opinion, trans women are women. But when it does come to things like that, the physique of the male body having transitioned into a female body is different and will have a slight advantage. It is a very difficult subject to discuss, and I honestly do not know what the solution would be or what the answer would be. And I think it's something that needs to be spoken about openly and honestly within sports as a whole. And I don't want to upset my trans women friends, because you have as much right to be in sport as women. It is just a, and I'm talking about actual anatomy here. I'm not talking about the changing of the sexual genitalia. I'm talking about the actual physical anatomy differences between men and women's bodies. So it's actually the actual anatomical bodies. that I'm discussing here. It's not the actual sex of the person. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I have not upset anybody by my suggestion of having a separate, section, because I think it would be a fair way. Those are just my thoughts. And if I'm wrong, please tell me. Please discuss this with me and put your thoughts up as well as to how you think that could be resolved. Because there are going to be women in the women's athletics section or whatever sport it is who are going to say, well, this is not fair. And there are going to be men in the men's sports section who say this is not fair. So it's like putting a person with blades, a person in who's missing a leg or missing two legs, from the knee down, and they've got blades on against somebody who is a natural athlete. It wouldn't be fair. You'd probably find that the person wearing blades would actually be faster. I'm not saying that would be the case. But because the blades are made in a specific way, that is the way that a cheetah's leg is, in their anatomy, is that joint goes backwards, and it does in with the blade as well. Just a thought. You couldn't put, that's why they have all the different categories within the Paralympics. The T4 and like I was watching those guys that were paraplegics that had slight movement with their hand, and they were throwing like a beanbag game. And, it must be so hard to do, but you couldn't have a person who is 100% fit throwing a beanbag, because the difference would be unfair. Do you know what I mean? Amputee, thank you, Indy Duckmel. Yes, sometimes those words just escape me. Don't age and activity before also play a part. Say a 40-year-old male trans female who was in military versus an 18-year-old who never did any physical sports. They do. I mean, I'm 57 next month and I run, and I'm never going to be an elite athlete. Never. I wasn't an elite athlete when I was running years ago. I wasn't going to win. I was much faster than I am now, but I wasn't going to win. And I have more weight and my hormones have changed. I've gone through menopause. So there is a huge amount of, that's why they have different age categories in marathons as well. So, they have the overall winner, but then they have age categories within that. So I'm in the veterans. Very sad. Very sad. Lost Missionary, thanks for streaming, Witchy. I got to be off now. Good night. Good night, darling. Take care, Lost Missionary. Take care. I don't celebrate Mother's Day, but I celebrate the day that mine. Oh, bless you. Bless you, Sir Larry. I was thinking about that last night with thinking about Mother's Day. I was thinking along the same lines on a purely anatomical basis, as men are built differently to women regardless. That is true. That is true. And, for a trans woman, her gender, she is born in a man's body and knows she is a woman. However, the physique, the actual anatomy, is that of a man's. Like you say, Chrissy, it is a very, very, very sensitive subject. And I don't want to upset anybody, because I support all women, trans women, non-binary women, however a person identifies, I support them. I suppose you know about the story of SA Gold winner medalist Semenya. Yeah, I do. She was, what's it called? Hermaphrodite, which meant she had both genitalia, and she was her gold medal, she was disqualified because of that, which again, where does that fit? Caster Semenya, yeah, that's her name. She was disqualified because of that. And where does that fit into the grand scheme of things? How do we classify these things? How do we put things in place so that people can be treated equally, because it is about equality, and we're all different. You know, men and women are different. A woman will, you know, in a building trade, for example, is not going to be able to lift the same amount of bricks as a man will. It's unless she lifts weights and she's, you know, gone through that whole muscular change in her body. But there are those anatomical differences. So how do we sort of solve that issue, that problem? It's such a difficult subject, isn't it? Oh, okay. So Larry, okay. Okay, so you dance around on that day. Okay, that's okay. Not just trans women, trans men as well. Absolutely, absolutely, because a trans man is going to have a smaller body than, you know, the anatomy is going to be smaller than an actual cisgendered man. So again, to me, I only see the way forward. You know, that's just one thought that I've had is, could it possibly be a separate, you know, field within the Olympics? My parasport has 2 categories, one for throwing normally, just sitting, and one with added equipment and assistance. Those guys are amazing. One blink and the ball goes flying. Absolutely, absolutely, indeed. I sat and watched it with my dad because he loves sport. He absolutely loved sport when he was alive. He was just sport mad. And you know, they had Sky, and he got Sky so that that was it. He wanted to watch all the sport, all the footy, all everything. And you could ask him any question on any sport and he would know the answer. He would know the answer. He was also a betting man. But yeah, I sat with him and watched. This was, you know, he was very poorly. He was very poorly for a long time. And so I'd sit and watch it with him. And I was amazed at what some of these, you know, paraplegics were doing. Absolutely brilliant. And, you know, the women swimming with one arm and one leg at that speed. I have 2 arms and 2 legs and I can't swim at that speed. I highly recommend the 2024 film Conclave. I've seen it. Who's popping? Very, very good. Very good film. Good evening to you. I actually watched Prometheus last night. I've seen it before, but it's leaving Netflix soon. So I thought, okay, I'll watch it again. I forgot how good a movie it is. And it's the Alien Origins film. And it's brilliant. So if you get a chance, I think it leaves in the next few days. So if you do get a chance to watch it, have a watch of it. It's very, very good. The effects are brilliant. It was from 2014, I think, but the effects are brilliant. It's Ridley Scott. What do you expect? It's really good. It's Parabokia, the sport. Yes, that's it. That's it. There are people paying the brunt of this and they ain't got much less in them. It's all a made up force to hate with a means to justify. I'm not sure, Elle, what you're getting at there. It was never a problem until around 10 years ago. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so we're talking about rolling. Yeah, I went to nightclubs in the late 80s, all through the 90s, all through the 2000s, and there were trans women there, and there was never an issue. Never an issue whatsoever. It's fuck J.K. Rowling and her fucking ridiculous bloody... Yeah. There are good and bad people in all races, in men and women, and in trans men and women. And there are good and bad people in every one of them. It's that simple. Who's popping? I like Prometheus. A lot of people hate it. I enjoyed it. The only thing was, though, obviously the technology that they had in this film compared to what they had in Alien, you know, it was very different. Have Prometheus and other movies on my media server. Yeah, I love Alien. Aliens, the second one when it came out, absolutely loved that film. Absolutely loved that film. Wasn't so keen on the last one, Romulus. Was it Romulus? The latest one. I saw it when it came to the cinema the other year. It was good. But it didn't have the, I wasn't able to connect with the characters as well. The Housemaid is a very good film to watch based on a novel by Frida McFadden. I've not seen that. I shall have to have a look at that, David. Thank you. I'm a big horror fan. Horror and sci-fi and fantasy. But horror more than anything. Okay, I'm going to clear off now, guys. I hope I haven't offended anybody with my thoughts on sport when it comes to, you know, equality. Because I think it is really, really, really important that, you know, these things are discussed and discussed openly and fairly, and everybody's thoughts are shared and discussed. I don't have the answers to everything. And I know that a lot of you guys don't have the answers to everything either. And it's just like, well, what can we do to make the world a better place and equality for everyone? You've totally changed your opinion of Alien. Prey was great. I must have seen that. I've seen, if it's on Netflix, if it's on Shudder, if it's on Prime, I've seen it. Yeah, I'm worried about Elle. I'm very worried about Elle. If she's still listening, please send me an email, please. I quite enjoyed the Alien Earth TV series. I haven't seen that. It must have been on a channel that that I couldn't get at the time. I'll have to, excuse me, have a look for it. Guys, I am going to leave now. I am going to go and get my tea because I did want to eat before I came live and I didn't get a chance. I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you to all of the moderators and for all your hard work. And again, I am so sorry if I have offended anybody. That was not my intention at all. We all live in very, very difficult times. We all have shit going on. We've all experienced some form of hate towards us, because I think that we are all in a, you know, a place, most of you guys are lefties, that we have been ridiculed or made fun of at some stage in our lives. So I think we all share that commonality. And it's important that we are able to discuss these things openly and not point fingers at each other. So I hope you have been, are aware that, you know, I love you all as you are. It doesn't bother me at all. Right, I am off, everybody. Alien Earth, superb series, also on my media server, and I recommend Once Upon a Time. Great. I started to watch Once Upon a Time. I watched the first season and then got a bit bored with it, Sir Larry. So yeah, it has to be something that draws me in. It's like American Horror Story. The one I watched the first season, enjoyed it, and then I drifted away from it. Okay, so I shall be live again on Wednesday. I'm not live streaming tomorrow. I'll be live again on Wednesday at 6 p.m. with Witchy Wednesday. And then on Friday, I will live stream at 1 p.m. because Regan Elite is going live at 3 p.m. So thank you again to everybody for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't, hit the like button on the way out. And I will see you in the chat, probably on Regan Elite tomorrow, but have a wonderful evening. Blessed be.